It's finally time to talk about the trend lines, and actually I'm quite excited to talk about it because I believe it's very, very important, and I can assure you and promise you that after watching this video, your trading skills will be highly improved and you will be able to see things better than ever that you have never been able to see in the market. Now, before we start also, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and kindly share the video. So first things first, I want to talk first, guys, about the the strength of the support and resistance trend lines, and I want first of all to go to the monthly chart. Now, why did I go to the monthly chart? Because I want to show you guys that these levels actually are permanent, meaning support and resistance trend lines can actually hold their positions over many years. For example, we have right here, of course, a support that has been created back in 2002, May 2004, sorry. What I will do right now is simply draw here a support trend line from the same point of that support and just simply connect this level of a support trend line all the way right here to the next support trend lines. What do you see right here? It's really outstanding. So this level of a support trend line has indeed been respected over many years. Then finally, back in 2022, it also has been respected again, which means over 10 years, actually, no, sorry, 20 years, it has been consistently being respected. That's really amazing. That means, I mean, can you imagine that you are placing here a buy order and maybe you don't know why this reversal happened? Maybe you have a different strategy or having some indicators that has told you to place your buy order right here without knowing that this reversal happening due to a strong level of a support trend line that was happened maybe before you even born. That was really amazing. So guys, my point here is telling you that these levels are actually permanent. Of course, same goes to the resistance trend lines. If we draw here a resistance trend line from this lower high all the way to this lower high, just like that. Now we can notice that this level of a resistance trend line is indeed being respected. This level of a resistance trend line actually happened back in June 2009, and then again 2010 being respected, again 2013, and finally 2020 it has been finally been respected. So again, those levels are actually quite permanent, which means maybe we can now expect from the EURUSD to rise again right here and then reverses back upon the pressure from that level of a resistance trend line. Of course, that's not our topic, but I'm just telling you here, this level actually might witness a strong reversal upon the pressure from the resistance trend line. So again, those levels are actually quite permanent. Now, we have to understand this part because we will come back to it later. So these levels are actually permanent. The market will always keep respecting those levels of support and resistance trend line no matter how many years passes. Now to the second part. It's really important to understand that the market is actually moving based on the support and resistance trend lines quite actually consistently the whole time. Let me first of all, still here on the EURUSD, and we are still on the monthly chart. I want first of all to squeeze that chart like this. I found out actually this method is to be very helpful in educational purposes. I mean, we can easily explain about the support and resistance if we squeeze the chart like that, because if you keep the chart like it is, it may be not that really easy to see actually. It's easier to the eye to see it like this, and I will come to this part right now. So as we can see right now, the market is indeed moving based on those support and resistance trend lines all the time. So if we draw here a support trend line, as we can see, we also have right here a previous level of a resistance trend line, which has actually been creating here a triangle. So meaning the market actually kept bouncing inside of this channel or this triangle, then finally made the bearish breakout from that level. Now let's continue. I want to show you that we are having here also a support trend line and another resistance trend line. So again, the market kept moving or ranging inside of this channel or this trend line before finally breaks out from that level. Then again, we are having here another, the same thing is just keep repeating and happening. Again, another channel happened, and then the market kept ranging inside of this channel, then finally broke out from that level, and so on, just repeatedly doing the same. The market is always and forever moves based on that. Let me just show it to you based on the smaller time frame. Let's now move to the daily chart. Let's now make it corrected. I mean, squeeze again the daily chart, and again we can see the same thing. I will just use the pen to make things faster. So right here we also have a channel that the market kept ranging inside of this channel, then finally made a bearish breakout from that level. Also right here, we have another channel. The market kept ranging inside of it and then made the bullish breakout, and so on and so on. No matter how you look at it, you will always find these channels, and the market is just simply keep moving inside of it. So that actually shows us a better view on the market. So instead of looking at the chart and just see random lines and expecting that these are randoms, we can actually make them like tunnels like that. A tunnel, breakout link, and then another channel, a breakout link, and then channel, breakout link, and then channel, breakout link, and again another channel, another link that has broken out from, and again channel, and so on. As you can see, seeing it this way gives you a better view on the market, so you will actually be able to understand how the market actually moves. And of course, if we see the market moving like that, we know that this is an upper trend, and if it's moving like that, we are having a downtrend. So based on this, of course, we can continue trading. But of course, that's not our topic. That's not really yet the magic of trend lines. We didn't come yet to that part. The magic of trend lines will come later, which will happen right now. Let me now go to the, I think USDJPY can actually give us a very good example. Now, let me show you something, guys. Let's begin the magic of trend lines. Let's get ready, sit down, drink your tea, eat your breakfast or something, because this might actually take a while. We have to explain it very carefully. And actually, I have to make sure I explain it very well. So right now, for example, if we look right here at the daily chart for the USDJPY, what we can do first of all is we need to understand how is this market being moved by. So therefore, what I will do is simply draw here a support trend line from this lower low all the way to this lower high. Just like the higher low, sorry, just like that. So right now, we are having here this support trend line has been respected repeatedly, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally 5. So we have here 5 attempts of that resistance, that support trend line. That's clear? That's clear. What I will do right now is simply make what we call like a fan of the support trend line. Now, of course, I'm totally aware that we can do this with the Fibonacci fan. There are some tools here we can use, but I always prefer to use it manually. Manually is, in my opinion, gives always the best results possible. So what I will do right now is simply clone the same line right here and just moving the ending of it. I mean, I will just keep the beginning part or the beginning point, and I will just move the ending point just like that. Now what I will do next is simply place it, look at the mouse cursor, I will just simply place it right here at the next support trend line, which is right here exactly. So just like that. Fantastic. So right now we're having 2 support trend lines. The first one is from this lower low, connected to this level of support trend line. Then finally this support trend line has been respected. The second one is actually from the same point and connected to this level of support trend line right here and right here. Let me delete it to show it to you clearly. This is the beginning. Right here the support trend line number 2, 3, and 4. Then finally right here, after that fake breakout happened, the market respected actually the same level of that support trend line. Let's now do the same again. So I will just clone this line right here and simply clone it like that. Now just move the ending point of it only, and now look at the mouse cursor. I will just place it right here at this level of a support trend line and then expand it just like that. Fantastic. Now we have here another point of view. Now we're having here the same support trend line has been drawn from the same point at the beginning, but this time we connected it to this level of support trend line right here and support trend line right here and right here and right there and right here. I mean, we are having here approximately 6 attempts with this one, of course. So actually we have more than 7 attempts, if not even 8 attempts of support trend line on the same line right here. Let's call this line number 1 and this number 2 and this number 3. Let's keep going. Actually, it's wrong. This should be 1, this should be 2, and this should be 3. Let's keep going. I will again clone the same line from the first one, and again, just simply drag the ending point of it and just place it right here at this level of a previous support trend line. Now, let's take a look at it, and of course, we will call it number 4. Now, what we can see right here is the same beginning point. We didn't change it. However, if we connect it to this level of support trend line, we can see that the market actually respected the same level as a resistance trend line repeatedly. It became also a support trend line for once, Again, breakout happened, it became a resistance. Bullish breakout happened, it became also a support. Trend line number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and so on. I don't have to keep going because I think the point is very clear. No matter where you connect your support trend line, from any support trend line, from any lower low to any higher low, it will always be pointing to a strong level of support trend line. I want to show you this on a different chart. One second, my friends. I will just delete this one and I will just now look for another better chart. Pound USD is actually giving us a good view. Let me show it to you. For example, after what I have just explained to you right here, we don't actually have to draw the support trend line from the lower low all the way to the higher low, just like that. We don't actually have to do that. It's simply enough to connect the trend lines from one point to another point, and that will be enough actually. What you will do next is simply expand this line to make it a ray. Just simply right click on it, use or actually click Trendlines properties, and then select ray, activate the ray, and now you can see that the line has been expanded. Voila, what do you see? In the end, the same level of support trend line has indeed been respected right here. It became a support trend line number 1, 2, and even 3. Let's do the same right now from different points. Let me now disable the ray. I will enable it later. Let me now, for example, connect the support trend line from the same low right here and connect it to this support trend line, just like that. Now I will expand the line. Right click, Trendlines properties, ray. Check this out. Again, the same level has indeed been respected later after that bearish breakout, after the bullish breakout happened. Now that confirms what we said in the beginning of the video, that these levels are actually permanent, which means you can actually place your line right here and just keep it if you want. Now we can actually wait for the pound USD to continue the rise and then resell it once it reaches the same level of that resistance and retest the broken level of support trend line, and afterward you can actually place your sell order. Of course, we will come to this part later in the video. That will be the last part where we talk about the entries and placing our take profit and stop losses, but now I want to explain you more about the trend lines. Let's keep going. I will now go to the last example. Let's just disable the ray, trend lines properties ray disabled, and now let's again use the same beginning point, and this time I can actually connect my line randomly actually to any point. This one, for example, this support trend line right here. So I have simply connected the same level of where we have begun, from the support trend line all the way to the next support trend line. Did you notice, guys, what I'm doing? I'm simply selecting randoms levels of support levels or support trend lines. Just connect your line from any support to any other support, and you will notice that the market is always respecting those levels. Now, I will show you. I will just right click, Trendline properties, ray, and what do you see? Again, the same level of support trend line has also become a resistance trend line. After the bullish breakout happened, it also became a support trend line number 1, 2, 3, even 4, and 5. And then after the bearish breakout happened, it also became a resistance trend line number 1 and number 2. So meaning, my friends, when you connect your lines from any point to any point, I mean from any support to another support, it will always mark a strong level of support trend line. Remember, it's not ideal to connect it from a support to a resistance trend line. Don't do that. Don't connect it directly from support trend line to from a support to a resistance. Always make sure to connect it from a support to a support. Let me disable the ray. Connect it from a support to a support, such as this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. Always from a support to another support. Of course, the same goes to the resistance. Let me find another chart so I can actually explain about the resistance trend lines. USDCAD is actually showing us something good. Let me show you, for example. First of all, I need to disable the ray. We will apply the same what we have done based on the previous chart on the pound USD. I will simply draw a resistance trend line again from any resistance to any other resistance. For example, you can start from this level of a resistance right here, exactly right here, and then connect to this level of a next resistance. So I connected the resistance trend line from this high to this lower high, just like that. Now let's expand the line. Now, of course, the purpose of expanding the line is to show you what happened after. I want to show you that by just connecting two levels of a resistance, trend lines together, you can see what happened later in the future, and indeed the market seems like it has been actually able to respect the same level. We can notice right here exactly a resistance trend line has appeared, and then the market made a bullish breakout from that level. So right now it might actually not be a bad idea to place here a buy order for the USDCAD after retesting the broken level of a resistance trend line. Let me now disable the ray. And again, I will connect now the resistance trend line from the same beginning point, connecting it to this level of a resistance trend line, just like that. So from this point to this point. Now let's expand the line and see what happened later if we would have done that before the chart completed. Check this out. This is fantastic. Now we're having here the same level of a resistance trend line. Indeed, has been respected right here after the bullish breakout happened. After the market make a bullish breakout from that level, it became a support trend line repeatedly. Then again, after the bearish breakout happened, we can see right here a resistance trend line has been born. And again, after the bullish breakout happened, the market also respected the same level as a support trend line. So meaning those levels, my friends, are always and forever being respected. So meaning if you draw this line right here, you can simply keep it forever. Trust me, it will also work many of the times. And what I can do next also is just connect the same. Look at the mouse cursor, guys. Do you see the mouse cursor? I will place it right here on this level of a resistance trend line. As you can see, by connecting the resistance trend line from this level to that level of a resistance, we can notice that it also became right here a support trend line. However, it actually we didn't have much action happening on the same line. However, this confirms right now that these levels are permanent. And now that takes us to the most fun part of this video, which is actually how to place our trades based on the trend lines. Now the fun part begins actually, and I will show you guys how we can find these setups. Now we are back now to the USDJPY, and this time I actually have done this part before after drawing the all those support trend lines from the same point, but now of course on different ending points. Now I want to ask you something. Do you think it's really easy for you to do the same on every single chart that you're analyzing? The answer is of course no. We don't want you to keep doing this with every simple chart to find a beginning point and then draw all these lines right here. This was done only for educational purpose. We never do that. What we do instead, I will show you right now. For example, now after drawing these lines right here, those 4 lines, and connect them to different points of support and resistance trend lines, what I can do right now, if I want to place my buy order right here, so actually I'm aiming to find a setup to buy the market right here on this point. Now, for example, let me just show you, let me just now delete all those lines, and now let's now rely only on this single one that we have left. Now, we're having here a strong level of support trend line. That means that if we have witnessed this bearish breakout happening and then the bullish breakout happening, which means we are having now a fake breakout, now what we can expect next is to buy the market right here on this level of a support based on those levels of support trend lines that we have drawn here. So meaning our best chances actually our best setup will be just simply like that, waiting for the market to create a support. Wait 1 second, I need to make it black. Yes, we're having here a support trend line, and then we're waiting for the market to keep bouncing on this level, then finally wait for a bullish breakout happen right here, sorry, a bearish breakout to happen right here, then the market will actually rise again, breaking out from that level of support trend line. So right here we're having a support trend line, as we can see, just like that. Now our best opportunity and our best setup is to wait for the market to fall again to respect the same level of the support trend lines, and then we can place our buy order right here. Now of course I will come to this part again later by the end of the video. However, I just wanted to show you this. Now after checking those levels of support trend lines, what we can do right now is simply wait for the market after making the bullish breakout right here and retest the same level. Now instead of draw this line right here, I'm going actually to let me show you. I need to bring them back exactly just like that. Now what I will do is simply change the color of this one so it will not confuse you. Make it, for example, this one. So now what I will do next is simply place the same line that I have drawn here from the same lower low to this higher low. Just like that, I will just simply move it and just place it right here at the same level. Look at the mouse cursor, at the same level of that support trend line. What do we see right here? Exactly, the same level of support trend line has indeed showing that if we waited for the market to fall again right here, then we can place also our buy order right here. So meaning, let me get rid of the other blue lines. Now by this orange line alone, we can actually find all those setups that we had previously with the blue line, which means after draw the support trend line from this lower low to this higher low, just like that, I will just simply drag the very same line that I have drawn here and just simply place it on the next support trend lines. So actually I was looking at this level of support trend line, and as we can see in the past it was respected as well, and even here it was a resistance trend line. Then in the future it also became a support trend line number 1, number 2. Keep going. I'm going to keep moving with and place just the same line that I have drawn here from the beginning of this point, and just simply place it right here at this level right here of a resistance trend line. A support trend line, I have actually placed it right here at this level of support trend line. Now look at the future. The market indeed almost respected the same level. Also it was here a support trend line. It became also a resistance trend line multiple times. Even right here recently it became also a support trend line. Keep going. I'm going to place it right here on the next support trend line, as we can see, just like that. To make it more accurate, just like this. Now we can see that right here, this level of support trend line was indeed in the past a resistance trend line and also a resistance trend line right here. So the moral of that is that if you draw, guys, if you draw the line from one point to another, you can simply keep using the same line over and over until you find a good setup. For example, you know something, I want to go to the future. Let me show you something good if I can. Let's apply, of course, the same for the resistance trend line. So what I'm going to do is simply draw here a resistance trend line from this higher high all the way to this lower high, just like that. Now, to find a good setup, what we need to do right now is simply, after draw the resistance trend line, we just simply have to drag it. Look at the mouse cursor, and I will place it right here on this level of a resistance trend line. Let's see what will happen next. I will place it simply right here, just like that. Fantastic. Yes, just like that. Now pay attention, we are having here also a previous level of a resistance trend line which has been respected in the past. Also we have one fake breakout, but also can be considered as a resistance trend line number 1, number 2, and again number 3 and number 4. It became also here a support trend line, as we can see. So that means that we can actually wait for the AUDUSD to rise again and respect the same level of a resistance trend line. Now, let's say I didn't draw the resistance trend line from this high or higher high to this lower high. Maybe I have drawn it somewhere else. For example, from this level of a resistance to this level of a resistance. Check this out. This is amazing. It's still pointing at the same point. This level of a resistance trend line has indeed been connected to this level of a resistance trend line and another resistance trend line and another resistance trend line. So in total we have 4 attempts, and it became also a support trend line. So meaning it's also, guys, pointing at exactly the same point where we can place our sell order. Isn't that fantastic? I mean, maybe you are worried about where you can draw your resistance trend line. I'm telling you, no matter where you draw it from, it will always be respected. Draw it from this lower high to this lower low, just like that, okay? So I simply draw here the resistance trend line from this high to this low. And what I will do next is simply, again, try to find a setup. And again, check this out. Again, placing it right here, pointing to the same setup. Again, we're having this level of a resistance trend line, became a resistance trend line in the past, and even if we expand it, we can notice that it's also connected to those levels of resistance trend line, and still the same setup can be found. No matter how you draw them, they will always and forever point to the same setup. Always make sure that if you want to sell, look for a resistance trend line. If you want to buy, look for support trend line. That's actually quite important, and I think this is one of the most important parts of the video, and I hope you guys, no one have skipped this part, because it's really important, and we will come back to this part also later. Well, after reaching this point, I believe that there is no escape from it. we will wait for the part 2. We have to wait for the second part, my friends, because this video actually was a little bit exhausting to me. Those who have been following me for a long time, they know I cannot really keep speaking for a long time. Since I have COVID back in 2021, I'm having really problems to keep talking for long times, and I'm already tired. Also, the video is already really long. So therefore, my friends, that will be enough for the first part, and I will see you on the second part, where I will explain more about how to trust these setups, how to find a reliable setups using the trend lines and the magic of trend lines, and more importantly, how and where to place our take profits and stop losses. So until then, my friends, of course, don't forget to join our free group of Telegram to receive the new updates and the new video when I release it. Of course, I will publish it right here, so you can actually immediately find the link to join, or actually to watch the video. So again, my friends, you can find the link of this group in the description below of this video. This is my group on Telegram. This is my channel, where actually we are sending even one signal every day, one free signal every day. So until then, my friends, I hope that was informative to you, and I will see you again on the second part next week.